Over the last few years, cloud gaming has evolved from a laggy, frustrating experience to something that's starting to feel much more like the real deal. It's smoother, faster, and more accessible than ever, but the big question still remains, is it good enough to replace a trusty console or PC? And I think the answer for some people is yes, you could potentially sell your console or at least skip an upgrade cycle on your PC, but for many more users, I think it makes more sense to have an option to play some of your favorite mobile games because cloud gaming can make hardware limitations a thing of the past. So in this video, I'm going to break down 4 of those gaming services, everything I learned over the last few days about them as far as pricing, compatibility, a gaming experience, lag, and things like that. And those services are going to be Xbox Game Cloud, PlayStation Plus Premium, NVIDIA GeForce Now, and Amazon Luna. So to kick things off, I wanted to go ahead and dive right on into pricing and compatibility because this might be a crucial factor in determining which service is going to be the best fit for you. So let's first take a look at Xbox. Their service is called Xbox Game Cloud and is only available for $19.99 with the highest version of Xbox Game Pass, which is the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. This gives you access to around 500 games for console and a little bit less for PC. Some of these titles do rotate in and out, so the library is constantly evolving. As far as compatibility, you can play on a wide range of devices, including your Xbox console, Android, iOS, Mac, PC, select smart TVs from LG or Samsung, Amazon Fire Stick, which is a recent addition, and even MetaQuest 2, 3, and Pro, all of which requires a download speed of at least 10 megabits per second if you are using a mobile device and 20 megabits per second on console, PCs, and tablets to get the most out of the service, which states they can achieve a resolution of up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. Now, Xbox also does support a wide range for controller options. While they do recommend using their Xbox official controllers, they do support plenty of third-party controllers, even DualShock 4, which makes Xbox one of the more compatible options on this list. But if you are someone more inclined to use a PlayStation service, if you have an existing console or setup in your house, this is what PlayStation offers. Their service is called PlayStation Plus Premium, and its price is slightly lower than Xbox at $17.99 per month with about 338 games available for cloud streaming. But when it comes to compatibility, this is where things get a little bit more limited. PlayStation Plus Premium is only available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or PC via a dedicated app. And unfortunately, the only supported controllers are the DualShock 4, making it less versatile than some of its competitors. But as far as resolution and bandwidth, it is right in line with the rest of them, giving you the ability to stream at 1080p, 60 frames per second. And if you wanted to stream 4K HDR, this is only available on PS5 titles, where you would need a PS5 to make this happen, and for that you would also need to have increased bandwidth up to 38 megabits per second. So if you are someone looking for more PlayStation exclusives, this is probably going to be a good place for you, even if you consider it just for a month or two to get the gaming out of your system. You can find games like God of War, Horizon, Uncharted, Spider-Man, and the gameplay is pretty smooth too, which should be expected because PlayStation likely optimized this for their consoles and a PC app. And I really experienced no issues when playing any games on either console or PC. It all played pretty smooth. Now, next up, we have NVIDIA GeForce Now, where they offer more of a tiered pricing model, starting with their free version, followed by paid tiers at $9.99 and $19.99 per month. There were also day pass options for $3.99 and $7.99, which is great if you want to go ahead and just pick up a game on a day-to-day basis. They also have a summer sale going on right now where those tiers are $4.99 and $9.99, so if you were looking to try out a service, this could be a pretty good one. But one thing to note with them is that although they do have around 2,000 or so games that you can play, one of the catches is that you need to own these games in order to play them. So think of this more as like renting a high-end gaming PC with the equivalent of a 4080 versus subscribing to a game library. But one thing they do have going for them is if you do have a lot of existing games, if you have a PC already, you can link your Steam, you can link Ubisoft, you can link your Xbox accounts, and go ahead and continue to play those games with these saved files right on GeForce Now. Now, as far as compatibility goes, I think this has by far the most support out of any of these services we're going to talk about on today's list. You can play on Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Chrome OS, select Samsung and LG TVs, and even the Edge browser on your Xbox console. But a lot of these services do have dedicated apps where you can download an app for your Mac, you can download an app for your PC, you can have an app on your phone, and the gameplay is very, very smooth. Where I started noticing some issues was like when I use the Edge browser on my Xbox console, the lag lag was several seconds later, where most of these games became unplayable. But for the most part, if you do use their dedicated app, you probably won't have many issues. As far as controller compatibility, they do have some recommended Bluetooth gamepads, with the Xbox controllers being the most compatible by default, but they also do support PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 controllers, as well as the Nintendo Switch. Now, when it comes to bandwidth, NVIDIA GeForce Now is the clear winner out of everything here. They have resolutions supported from 720p 60 frames per second all the way up to 4K 120. They also have some options in between though, so if you are someone who wants higher frame rates at a lower resolution like 1080p, you can support up to 1080p at 240, which is actually pretty impressive. I did end up signing up for the Ultimate tier just to see what it would be like, and I didn't have much lag at all, and I went so far as to test my own personal computer with an RTX 3070 to the equivalent 4080 on the GeForce Now servers. I booted up Cyberpunk on both of them and I ran the benchmark just to see how close these would be, and it actually wasn't close at all. My PC with the 3070 averaged around 30 frames per second and got a recommended resolution of 1440p, while the GeForce Now setup with the 4080 averaged 90 frames per second and was recommended to play at 4K, which was quite a big difference. And it was an embarrassment to my PC, considering a 3070 isn't that bad of a setup, but to have 1440 versus 4K at 30 frames per second versus 90, that's a pretty significant gap. And speaking of gap, we're going to go ahead and talk about Amazon Luna, which lags behind all of these other services here. It is priced at $9.99 per month. However, the library is very, very limited. A lot of these games I haven't even heard of. There are 139 of them. You can add services like Ubisoft Plus, but that's going to run you an additional $17.99 per month, which would bring the total cost of this service higher than pretty much anything else on this list. As far as compatibility goes, though, they do have some options that you can play this on: Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Chrome OS, Fire tablets, Fire Stick, things like that. I did end up trying it on my Fire Stick Max with an Xbox controller. I've tried booting up WRC and the lag was so bad that I was only able to last a few seconds. I kept going off the road and I ended up giving up on Amazon Luna. So in summary, Xbox Game Cloud and NVIDIA GeForce Now stand out as two of the best options on this list. Xbox offers a vast game library and device compatibility, while NVIDIA's flexibility in resolution and controller support makes it a strong contender, especially for those who already own a large game library. PlayStation Plus Premium, while strong for PS4 and PS5 owners, is somewhat limited in compatibility since you can only use a PlayStation controller and you have to have either a PC or a console to make it happen. And as far as Amazon Luna goes, though it's affordable, it may not satisfy more serious gamers due to its limited library and potential controller issues. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention while we're on this section here is that if you do have a GTX card that is a 10 series or newer, NVIDIA partnered with Xbox and they're offering a 30-day free trial of Xbox PC Game Pass, which adds about 150 games to your NVIDIA GeForce Now library. So the trial is definitely worth picking up if you wanted to go ahead and give it a shot. And the best part is you're not actually required to play on your PC. Whatever device you have your NVIDIA GeForce Now app on, these games are all going to be supported. So with that being said, all these games are nice and all these services do offer a relatively decent resolution and frame rate, but how well do they perform when it comes to latency? One of the biggest complaints with cloud gaming is the latency you experience when playing. So I'll be testing a middle ground racing type game where if you turn, you need to make the corner, and Fortnite, since that is a more competitive game and it's available on every platform, so we'll get a good idea of which one is the superior performer when it comes to latency. For our racing games, we have Forza Horizon 5 on Xbox, we have The Crew on PlayStation, we have Beam NG on GeForce Now, and on Luna we have Ride 4. The game that played most like the PC or console version here, I would say, would have to be Forza Horizon 5. It just seemed to have the best acceleration response. The turning was also right as I turned on my controller, it was turning in game. There was a little bit of a delay on both PlayStation and GeForce Now, but not to the point where I could not stay on the track. Unlike Luna, there were certain occasions where I would go off the track entirely. So the winner here is Xbox and Forza Horizon 5. Now moving on to our more competitive game, we have Fortnite, and then the exception of PlayStation, I have Doom, and that is because I wasn't actually able to stream Fortnite on the PC app for PlayStation. It turns out you need to have a PS5 in order to stream Fortnite on this service. So looking at the rest of them here, we can see that Luna has the lowest FPS if you look at the FPS counter in the upper right, and GeForce Now has the most frames, but the overall best experience I would have to say is pretty close tie between Xbox and GeForce Now. There was a little bit of lag with Luna, but I still was able to get eliminations in every single one. But again, if you're comparing it to the actual PC or console experience, I would say that GeForce Now was slightly closer than the Xbox was, just because the game felt a little bit smoother. So in the end, I found the most enjoyable experience to come from using GeForce Now, mostly because it allowed me to link most of the accounts I already have today, Xbox and Steam being the bulk of my games. It also offered a 30-day trial to make it all more enjoyable. On top of that, it's just flat out compatible with pretty much every single device that I personally have. Mac, PC, iPhone, my iPad, where I can go ahead and pick up any game I leave off on any of those devices. One other thing these cloud solutions offer on top of having your physical console or PC is that they're just ready to go when you want to. So let's say you leave your PC for a couple weeks or even your console for maybe a month or two, you pick it back up, you're going to have an update. And sometimes those updates are small, they take a few minutes, but sometimes they're like 70, 80, 90 gigs where they could potentially take 20, 30, 40 minutes. Whereas with cloud gaming, you click the game, it's already updated no matter what, and it's ready to go. So that can save you quite a bit of time if you just want to play your game and jump right in. So at the end of the day, even if cloud gaming doesn't replace your console setup, it certainly gives you more ways to play. And that's really all I have for you guys. Let me know down below which of these cloud platforms you've used or would consider using after watching this video. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see some more stuff like this. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.